Yo, what is up, Dirty South family, man? It's your boy, 2TONEZACH, back in the motherfucking building, man. And today, we bringing something new to the channel, something fresh to the channel, man. This is not a podcast. We gonna be calling this thing right here Off the Dome, man. It's gonna be where every Monday and every Friday, I come on here and I talk to y'all about the thing we love the most, and that is college football, man. We're gonna try to keep these segments 20 minutes. We might go over 20 minutes sometimes, if that's okay with y'all. But we just gonna talk college football, man. Off the dome, no notes, no scripts, no nothing like that, no prompts. I don't have anything around me that I'm reading off of. All this shit is literally coming off the dome, man. So, like I said, we'll do these every Monday and Friday through the season. And then in the off season, it might get switched up a little bit, but for now, Monday, Friday, off the dome episodes with 2TONEZACH. And sometimes Nick might do an off the dome episode. Wick might do an off the dome episode, but off the dome you will usually see this face right here, man. Um, so yeah, we just gonna talk a lot of college football and things of that nature, man. But before we talk about college football, I do want to shed light on an unfortunate event that happened yesterday. So if you're not new to the Dirty South family, you know that me and Nick live in Georgia, and here in Georgia, unfortunately, we had a high school shooting yesterday at Appalachian High School. So I just wanted to send my condolences to all the victims of and the families of the victims and anybody who may have been hurt or impacted. If you need it, please seek counseling. If you believe in him, seek God. He can help in these times of need. And just lean on each other, man. Lean on each other. Lean on your family. Tell your family you love them, man, and just show love, man. It's free to show love. It's free to wake up with a good attitude, show love, and you want to do that because you never know when it's your last day, and all you have here when you leave is the impression that you left. So leave an impression, set the tone, set the day, man. So with that being said, we gonna talk about some college football, man. So week one already out the way. Right now we're heading into week two. I did shoot an episode last week for week one, but there was a lot of technical difficulties and stuff like that. So technically this isn't the first episode of Off the Dome. It's just the first episode of Off the Dome that y'all will see. So I think we're gonna name this episode Off the Dome episode 1.2, since it's technically isn't the first episode that was shot, but it's gonna be the first episode that was out there. So just keep that in mind. So week one, what did we have? We had Clemson get absolutely throttled by Georgia. Unbeknownst to no one, you know what I'm saying, besides me, because I really did think that Clemson had a slight bit of a chance until I found out that they had a defense resembling of 2021 Iowa. So did not know that. That was just a bad showing. That was a bad showing for that Clemson offense. I won't say it was a bad showing for the Clemson team because the defense kept them in that game for as long as they could have possibly kept them in the game. The offense was just stagnant. They couldn't do anything. Like it was just bad to watch. It was really bad to watch. And at first, I thought we were heading in the direction of the 2021 Clemson versus Georgia game, where I think only what was it, 9 points were scored total or something like that. I thought we were headed in that direction, but luckily Georgia ended up putting up some points and making the game the slightest bit interesting. You know what I'm saying? So that happened. And another thing that happened, Virginia Tech goes on the road to Vandy in mid-construction form and loses in OT. That was a shocker to me. Anybody who's watched the channel or if you follow me on Instagram, Virginia Tech has been my ACC dark horse pick since back in the spring. You know what I'm saying? I really was high on the Virginia Tech program. I really was high on Kyron Jones, the quarterback over there. And they come out week one against Vandy and just did not deliver. They didn't deliver anything I thought they would deliver. Another game that happened on last week's 12 o'clock slate, Penn State versus West Virginia. Weird game. Got delayed for a couple hours due to weather. But once Penn State came back from the delay, they were they were going crazy. Once they came back from half, they were just going crazy. I mean, Drew Allen looked loose out there. He looked like he knew what he was doing. He looked like a good quarterback, the quarterback that many has thought Drew Allen could be this whole time. And he looked like that guy coming out of that weather delay. So that was very interesting to me. Another game that took place was Miami versus Florida. Now, I don't know if you guys have ever seen that meme, right? Where it's a picture of a guy holding up a sign and it says, "Our expectations for you were low, but holy fuck. Right, and I think that's how you have to describe Florida's week one. Our expectations for you were low, but holy fuck, you get blown out in the swamp with the recruits there, and it didn't. Let me put it like this: it didn't look like Billy Napier is going to be keeping his job much longer after that game. We talked about this on the podcast episode that will be getting dropped soon. Billy Napier does not make it through the rest of this season, especially not with the schedule they have, unless some upsets start getting pulled off. They are going to have to get a lot of upsets. They are going to have to get a lot of upsets if they want to turn this season around. And usually, the amount of upsets that they need just does not happen. It just doesn't happen. I want to say they're not favored in like seven in like seven of their next games. They're not favored. I think the only games they're favored in is against Stanford, and I think they play like Mississippi State or something. They might be favored in that game, but they play Georgia, Texas, Florida State. I don't like they play some other teams too that they are just not favored in. So it's going to be really hard for them to pick it back up. And while we're in the state of Florida, let's get to the other abomination down in the Sunshine State, the Florida State Seminoles. This is the worst transition from one season to another I think that I've seen. Right, you end the season, you get screwed out of a college football playoff spot. You whine about it, you complain about it, you bitch about it for 8 months. Right, yeah, you whine about it, you complain about it for 8 months, and then you get your chance to show it on a national stage, international stage actually, week zero, everybody watching, and you fucking blow it. You blow it to different proportions that I didn't know it could be blown to, right? Like that shit was crazy, right? And so you get another chance, right? Still ranked, didn't lose your ranking yet. You get Boston College at home in what should have been a bounce back game, but you end up getting bounced. Like you get bounced in the backup game, and now I'm just like, if you're Mike Norvell, where do you go from here? But down. It doesn't go anywhere but down. You still have games at Miami. You still have to go play at Notre Dame. You still play Florida, as trash as they are. Still SEC ball. You still play Florida. You still play SMU. You still play North Carolina, right? And I think you still play Clemson. So that's 6 more losable games on top of the 2 you already lost. So it could get really bad in Tallahassee this year. And what scares me about them, if I'm a Florida State fan, what scares me is you don't have single you don't have one single X factor on that offense. There isn't a guy on that offense you can look to when y'all are in trouble and say, man, that's the guy we need to go to. We're in trouble right now. We need to find a way to get it in such and such hands. Let's say the guy, where's number two? We're in trouble. We need to find a way to get it in number two's hands. Y'all don't have that. And the guy who should be bringing that for y'all is just not capable of doing that, right? DJU is not, and I repeat, he is not a leader of men, right? So when he's off, the whole team is going to be off. And as we've learned with DJU, usually he's off, right? I think that the schemes that Coach Smith over at Oregon State had for him disguised a lot of his inabilities, and that's why he was able to look as decent as he did. But as soon as Coach Smith, and I should have known something was up when Coach Smith opted for Aiden Childs over DJU, right? I don't think he wanted to bring DJU with him to Michigan State. So I don't know, Florida State fans. I don't know. I don't know what y'all are going to do. If I was y'all, I'd just get ready for Sundays at this point. I mean, I'm assuming if you're a Florida State fan, then more than likely you're a Miami Dolphins fan or a Tampa Bay fan. Two teams who got really good opportunities to make something happen in the NFL this year. I go ahead and get ready for Sundays and get ready for that. Honestly, you feel me? Like, cause the college football season is fucking over. If you're a Florida State fan, the college football season is fucking over. Unless y'all run the table, y'all can run the table. Unless y'all run the table, y'all can run the table, and we could be sitting here late. No, y'all can run the table, and we could be sitting here late November, and I'm eating my words, and y'all are in the comments clowning me, coming back to the comments in this video clowning me. That could happen. I hope it does, right? I don't want to see you guys sad. I don't have beef with Florida State, so I hope that shit does happen. But in my 10 to 12 years watching football, I don't think it will. I don't think you guys will have the resurgence that you guys need. Um, not on this particular year. Um, let's talk about another team. Let's talk about the defending national champions, the school I hate the most, the Michigan Wolverines. Right? They come out against Fresno State, a good team last year, and they just do not look good. Not look good. Didn't look how you want your defending natty champs to look. Um, just had trouble on the offensive line. I think their star running back Donovan Edwards ran for 2.9 a carry. Khalil Mullins, he did really good. He ended up being the feature back of that game, which was kind of weird a little bit. Then the quarterback inability just showed. I mean, you had Davis Warren, who just couldn't put a touch on the deep pass. He was doing good with the medium passes, but just couldn't put a touch on his deep pass. You had Orgy who missed a routine throw. Davis Warren was missing routine throws. It just looked reminiscent of the old Michigan days, right? Like subpar offensive line play, subpar QB play, really good defenses, really good running backs. That was what Michigan was used to for the latter part of an entire decade, pretty much. Um, So I think that's what it'll be. Now I think Michigan's still gonna have a really good season. I think they're still gonna go 10-2 this year. I don't think they're gonna lose to Oregon, right? I do think they'll lose this week to Texas, and I do think that they'll end up losing in Columbus during rivalry week. But that's just not what you want to see from your defending national champions in week one against a team like Fresno State. The offensive line was getting pushed around, the QB inability. Um, Donovan Edwards looked like he didn't have any vision whatsoever. 2.9 a carry is absurd. It is really, and even some guys you expect to look good just didn't look all that good. Will Johnson ended up making up for his mistakes that he was making all game. Will Johnson ends up making up for his mistakes towards the end of the game with that pick six that pretty much iced it. But you shouldn't. You're the defending. I know they lost a lot. Michigan lost a lot, but you're the defending national champion playing a home opener against a Mountain West team. You shouldn't be relying on a fourth quarter interception with 2 minutes left in the game to ice it in the game like that. You just shouldn't. That's not how it should go. So the game this week is going to say a lot for Michigan and for Texas. Let's talk about Texas. You got a team that went out there and shut out a team that I thought was going to contend in the Mountain West, right? They got Torrey Holt. They bring back a pretty good quarterback. I thought that offense was going to be, kind of good this year. And then they come out and they get shut out, absolutely shut out by Texas. And I'm just like, whoa, you know what I'm saying? Texas fans, I won't say that this game is like program changing or program defining. I think you already won your program defining game when you beat Alabama on the road last year. This would just be like further cementing that y'all are back. You know what I'm saying? Obviously, to be back, y'all would have to win a national championship. But for the time being, this would just further cement that y'all are at least here to stay. You know what I'm saying? Um, I think y'all got some good things going on with that offense. A lot of speedsters at receiver. You got Quentin Ewers coming back at quarterback. Are down a couple running backs. I didn't really look at the box score for that game too much. I kind of just seen some highlights. And that's the thing off the dome. I don't have the stats in front of my face, so I don't know how well you guys ran the ball without two of your feature backs. Um, so we'll see. Well, I'm going to obviously see this Saturday when I'm watching the game, and I hope you guys win. I'm hook 'em all the way this week. I just hate Michigan. I don't understand the fans that say, "Oh, I want both teams undefeated." Me personally, I'm going to enjoy beating Michigan rather they come into the game 12-0 or 11-0, 8-3 or 6-5. It doesn't 1-10. It doesn't matter to me. It's going. I'm gonna feel the satisfaction regardless. So I don't really care how much they I don't really care about them winning. I would actually prefer to see them lose. Um, and then let's talk about a low key game this week. Tennessee versus NC State. Night game, 7:30 ABC slot. A game that nobody's really talking about. This is a great opportunity for both teams to show who they actually are, right? You got a lot of people who were saying NC State was overrated after the performance they had this past week against their inferior opponent. And you have Tennessee, who looked really good against their inferior opponent this past weekend. So it's going to be a good test for both teams, an ACC versus the SEC battle. Um, Two teams I believe are not too far in like geographic wise. So it should be a good game. Me personally, I won't be watching it because my Bucks actually come on at that time, so I'll be watching that. But definitely will be keeping a close eye on that game. Can't wait to see what Nico does, and I can't wait to see what Grayson McCall does. Transfers over from Coastal Carolina, and I'm ready to see what that. I'm ready to I want to see it. I want to see it. Is Tennessee legit? Is NC State legit? I think you find out a lot. I think you find out a lot about both teams coming out of that game. And then another team that we could talk about, Alabama. Alabama fans, you have to be absolutely pleased with that performance that your team put out there on Saturday. Like you have to be optimistic about the future. Let's talk about some replacements, right? You had to go out and replace Isaiah Bond. How do you replace Isaiah Bond? With the five-star phenomenon, true freshman, 17-year-old early enrollee freshman. Not early enrollee as in he came to school this past winter, but early enrollee as he skipped an entire year of high school, right? So you go out with him, replace Isaiah Bond. He goes 2 catches for about 132 yards and 2 touchdowns, right? You lose Caleb Downs, right? He goes up to the Midwest to play for Ohio State. How do you replace him? Well, you flip the door to his rival and you take their safety, Keon Sabb. And what does he do? 2 picks. So anybody who thought Bama was going to fall off, you were sadly mistaken. Now, not too much to talk about from Bama over the next couple weeks. Um, they play USF this week. They play Wisconsin the next week, and I want to say they have a bye week maybe, or not a bye week, but they play Georgia the next week. So we're going to learn a lot about Bama after this USF game, right? You go on the road to Wisconsin, a team who is very much in Big Ten contention this year, and then you play Georgia at home. We're going to learn a lot about you. So if you're an Alabama fan, I'd be really excited. And you know who else I'd be excited for if I was a fan? Miami. As much as I despise and hate Miami because of their Twitter fans, Miami has a really, really, really good chance to win the ACC this year after seeing how Clemson, Virginia Tech, and Florida State were looking. I really think they have a really good chance to win the ACC this year, and I think Cam Ward is a really good quarterback. I think if the Heisman ceremony is tonight, Cam Ward is the runner up to Travis Hunter. But I think you really found a good quarterback and you have a really good receiver. You got a really good offensive trio, quarterback, running back, wide receiver trio in Cam Ward, Damian Martinez, and Xavier Restaporo, I believe that's how you say his name. So yeah, if you're a Miami fan, you gotta be excited. And let's talk about my team. Let's talk about Ohio State. I liked what I've seen for the most part. You want to get a little bit more, not even push out of that offensive line, but you want to get a bit more organization, right? Like it wasn't even that they were getting pushed around. They was just looking unorganized at times, mis-IDing guys at times, and the communication looked like it was low. I think we did have a starter or two on the offensive line out, so get those guys back, and I think we get back rolling. But overall, I liked what I seen. Will Howard looked confident. He looked posed. Jeremiah Smith, of course, broke the internet with 2 touchdowns. Um, Caleb Downs, he had an okay game. He did miss like a tackle or two, but he also had a sack, so he did okay. Quinshawn Judkins, he had about 60 yards and a touchdown on like 4 yards per carry, so he did pretty well. And I was just excited to see it, man. I think this is going to be one of the most exciting years in college football ever, right? Because just the mystery of it, the mystery of all the West Coast teams now being in the ACC and the Pac-12, the mystery of how will Texas and Oklahoma do in the SEC, the mystery of the 12-team playoff. You know what I'm saying? It's just gonna be really exciting, and I really can't wait to see where this season takes us, man. At the end of each episode, I'll give a quick Heisman list and a quick my top five. Um, so for my Heisman list, usually they send 4 to New York, so I'll give you the 4 guys I think will be going to New York if the Heisman ceremony was tonight, and that's Travis Hunter, that's Cam Ward, That's Ashante Genty on Boise State, and that's Tetro McMillan from Arizona. I think those four guys will be going to New York tonight if the Heisman ceremony was tonight. And for my top five teams in the country, right? At number one, give me Georgia. At number two, give me Ohio State. At number three, give me Texas. At number four, give me Alabama. And at number five, give me Penn State. Right? I know a lot of people would expect Notre Dame to be at my five spot, but give me Penn State, man. The way they went into West Virginia and just absolutely handled business. I like Penn State. I like Penn State at my number five spot. If you want to interchange them with Notre Dame, by all means, be my guest. But I got Penn State at my five spot. And so that's where I stand now. So today is Thursday. This episode will be out Friday afternoon. And then we'll be back Monday to talk about week two, right? And then we'll be back again on Friday to further discuss week two and then talk about week three. So this is going to be very exciting. I can't wait. I'm glad that I've been able to get the time to do this. Once again, man, we call this segment here Off the Dome with your boy 2TONEZACH. Like I said, sometimes you'll see Headhunter Nick on here. Sometimes you'll see Wick Santana. Sometimes I might bring a guest on here like my dad or one of my friends or who watch college football. Sometimes you might see an episode where me and Nick in the same room. You know what I'm saying? So we just gonna get this thing rolling. We gonna be consistent with it and make today a day, man. Go live, pray, um, set a goal for each day and then just try to attack that goal. Because if you could set yourself one or two small goals each day and you start attacking those goals, it'll lead up to you starting to knock off much broader, much bigger goals. So let's just be great, man. Once again, thank y'all for tuning into the Dirty South family. Follow us on Instagram at the Dirty South Podcast. Follow our sports page at ds._sports. Follow the YouTube, of course, the Dirty South Podcast. Subscribe. We're growing. We're growing. We're growing. We're growing every day. So just, subscribe, like, do whatever, man. It's your boy 2TONEZACH off the dome, signing off, man. Stay dirty.